Yeah, and I'm excited to see sort of how these internal metrics start to increase and gradually grow over time. But yeah, watching the sort of the sentiment flip is a little bit funny. Like I'll see the pulse chain telegram when the price goes down, we'll lose a whole bunch of members, and then when the price pumps again, like 10 or 15%, like it'll gain a whole bunch of members. Like we're talking like hundreds of people will leave, and then hundreds of people will join. So some people, yeah, I
Yeah,
think are they react a little bit emotionally, especially with the recency bias we have. Like price is still up from the bottom, right? Like we're still up like 3 or 4 X's, but since we're down from the top, like maybe 40%, like it gets to people's heads a little bit. So
it doesn't feel that way. Exactly.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's the recency bias and stuff like this that gets to people. But I do think Pulse Chain is it's in its early stages, and we're gonna be sort of all the developers, everyone building, the whole community. We're all gonna be like here at the front lines, sort of, because we've nothing like this has ever been done before, right? This is sort of brand new with the whole even like sacrifice, and then having the brand new L1, and then having sort of like all the developers come in and build on this chain. Like lots of other L1s, lots of other blockchains that do not have this many protocols and smart contracts and like things to do, and like thriving ecosystems all over. So Pulse Chain is actually it's looking very very good across the board. I'm like I said, sentiment's down as of recently, but even TVL still like past basically the old all-time highs from when we launched Pulse Chain. So still looks very good relatively speaking. And I don't even think that TVL accounts for everything. And there you go. Look at all those blockchains that we probably surpassed, like Chronos, like right there is like an older L1. I guess we
Yep.
have more TVL than them. So we're surpassing a lot of these.
Cardano,
Yeah, Cardano,
Gnosis,
Thor Chain. I think that's a newer one, but
Phantom,
Phantom. Yeah, so
Algorand. I've heard of Algorand for a long time.
yeah, Hedera. I always heard people talking about the what was it, the ICO 2022 protocol tokens or whatever. So but yeah, it looks like Pulse Chain has surpassed a lot of these tokens in TVL. So very interesting stuff, right? Like we haven't gone down to like maybe 150 million TVL. So I don't know why everyone's so worried and stuff like this. Like still plenty of money on the blockchain. Even if you're looking at the bridge, I saw the whale bots, all of their tweets going over 500K bridged out from Pulse Chain, 500K bridged out from Pulse Chain. It sounds like a lot of money, right? Like you'd much rather see like 500K bridged in than bridged out. But if you're looking at it in the grand scheme of things, like I want to say in the past 14 days or even 10 days, there's only been maybe $6 or $7 million bridged out of Pulse Chain. So that might sound like a lot, but we can see here, right? $135 million currently bridged into Pulse Chain. So if we're taking 6 million outflows, like it could just be some of the break even soy boys, some of the people just trying to exit out while they're I guess while their bags sort of appreciated a little bit. But I do think like you might miss out on some new capital coming in, because this is what we see usually after you have some of this poor sentiment, and after some of these outflows sort of occur, we usually see a big entity come in and pour a large amount of money through the bridge. So
There's big entities that seem to be benevolent and like this ecosystem. You've seen those around.
I think I've seen a few wallet addresses. I'm not too sure.
I just want to point out too, they added PXDC here, which is the Power City stablecoin. That is, I'm surprised that almost as much, or not almost as much, but Power City earn where you could actually open the vaults and mint stablecoins from it. It's only been launched for a couple weeks, and Liquid Loan's been launched for, I want to say, a couple months at least. So to have 18 million USDL and have almost 12 million PXDC, that is really way more competitive than I thought it would be at this point because it just launched. So that's pretty amazing to see that. So congrats to Power City on so far locking up 12 million getting minted. That's a lot of PulseX getting locked up, and yeah, hopefully it's working out for people using the product that way.
And you guys could imagine like if the pulse price does a 10x, how much more USDL and PXDC there would be on chain. And lots of these blockchains, like even if you think back like a few years ago, there wasn't even on-chain stablecoins to begin with. Like lots of these technologies, like they're relatively new when you're talking about like in the realm of cryptocurrency. So to have 20 mil, almost $20 million of USDL and over 10 million, almost 12 million PXDC within just a few days or a few weeks of launch of these protocols or a few months of launch of these protocols is extremely good. Especially right now, like PulseX isn't even at SAC prices. Like I touched it for a little bit there, but it came back down. Yeah, there you go, like half a SAC right there. So we're not
Half a
even
sec.
yeah, we're not even close to like I want to say like huge mad gains yet. Like PulseX is still done like what over a 5x now at the current price from its bottom, but yeah, when we're when we're talking about like when these prices do a 10x, the amount of PXDC and USDL that'll be on chain will be significant. And you guys can imagine like people minting these stable coins, they're essentially extracting value out. Not necessarily extracting value, but they're capturing that value of their assets and without needing to sell it, right? So if you were to lock up and mint some PXDC with your PulseX, you're capturing some of that economic energy and you're able to mint against your stack, and you don't have to go to any of the market makers to necessarily pull out any stable coins from your PulseX. So these are actually extremely bullish protocols. I personally I like to let things play out a little bit and make sure like there's no like major like smart contract risks or anything like that, because I think that's my biggest thing is just like smart contract risk. But yeah, once these protocols stand the test of time, especially into this bull market, like I bet you're gonna have even a lot more vaults opening up for a lot more of these protocols. So
Yeah, and it's pretty cool too. Like when the prices do go up, and you open a vault on Liquid Loans or Power City, whatever, it's not like you have more to pay back. Your fixed amount stays that way. You just have more that you can extract from it and go make other plays, arbitrage again. Advanced features, do your research for you, do any of the yield arbitrage stuff or otherwise. But it's pretty cool in a way that you can extract more out, and so that's an option. Or you can pay it back and have all that. There's like a whole bunch of different functionalities. And then I had Jesse on the show. Anyone searched RHMax Power City, talked about all the different ways to use the earn protocol and staking and earn stable coins and earn redemption fees and PulseX and stuff like that. So yeah, I think hopefully things will go well with them, and again on the contracts and otherwise, and redemptions and liquidations and all that stuff work in people's favor. And I know they're definitely trying to make sure all that goes well. And 776 billion PulseX locked up in Power City, like almost a trillion, like that trillion number. If we may get there at some point, I don't know. April, is that another big thing happen in April? I keep talking about April the last few days. So many things happen in April. Maybe we get to a trillion locked PLSX in there. Never know.
I mean, yeah, at this rate, sort of like in the bull market and stuff like this, like I think it's definitely safe to say like it's bull market time, right? Like we've broken all time highs on Bitcoin. This is, I think is what Sami calls it, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean the halving's coming up. Uh, it's funny speaking about like sentiment and stuff like this too. Like even with Bitcoin and stuff, I'll see the same sort of sentiment. Mostly like from retailers and stuff, but you'll have Bitcoin go to like 72, 73,000. Everyone's woohoo happy, and then it drops to 60, and then everyone's like, oh crap, like like what just happened? Like everyone's sad again, right? Bitcoin's still up maybe 3 or 4x from its 15K bottom to 60,000. But since it's not at 72,000, like people they get emotional about it and they get sad, right? And I'm sure you had some people trying to purchase and like get in at the exact top. Like that's exactly how it works. So I wouldn't be surprised if you had some people already capitulate those lows and think that the bull market's over. But it's actually funny because it's just getting started. And when you know the market cycles and stuff like this, the halving coming up in April, um, Like I think we're getting primed to pump. Like you said that I think that was the title of one of your streams last time. But yeah, PulseChain is
with you, I
primed to
believe.
pump. Yeah,
Yeah.
with me. So yeah, PulseChain is primed to pump. Like I think after the halvening and stuff, once you get more of the retail coming in, um, you'll start to see them find their way over to PulseChain. Especially like you can't really miss them on Twitter. Like if you complain about Ethereum gas fees on Twitter, there's maybe some hexagon somewhere that says PulseChain fix this in your thread. So I think at a certain point it'll become unavoidable, and especially like if ETH were to go to 8,000, and then you have like 100 Gwei, 200 Gwei, 300 Gwei, it'll like people aren't going to be happy like transacting on that blockchain. Like it's going to be disgusting unless they get some upgrades for it. And yeah, even if they get some upgrades for ETH, like it'll be great because I saw Richard tweeting like PulseChain can get all the upgrades too. So I mean, there you go. Like that's
Yeah.
also very bullish as well.
How do we like? We always win. That's the cool thing about it. Like people who, right? Oh, who's going to use the chain? Or you could talk about the chicken and egg problem. If we need green candles on board, but we need we can't onboard without green candles. So how do we do that? Bootstrap theories with the mega wells participating, all that stuff too. But if you think about fork of Ethereum, we get to pick and choose which features that we want to use for upgrades. Whatever they get cheaper faster. We get cheaper faster. We're already cheaper faster. We just get even more cheaper faster if they are able to do those kind of upgrades too. So I think it's again, I think a lot of this red candle stuff, a lot of this like, oh, just nervous. I wish I thought this was going to happen quicker. Some people had different timelines that they set, which may or may not be reasonable, or some of them are just you're down in your sack and you're like, maybe they didn't buy it, maybe they didn't DCA when PulseX was down 90%, that sort of stuff. And a lot of people couldn't, and that's just everyone has their own situation. But I don't know how many, we talked about a lot on the show, all the different opportunities, how to make money in the market, where to find yield, the different products in the ecosystem, the different native products with Hex, of course, with the things you can do in the yield farms that I've been talking about. I feel like every week I do a yield farm stream and go through all that. And with PulseChain, you can be a validator. You can stake it just like you can ETH. Much, much cheaper, much more affordable. It's around 4K today. PulseX does a 10x price, it'd be 40K. It's a 100x price, it'd be 400K to be a validator on your own. That may price a lot of people out at that point and have to use other community solutions or otherwise. But